What's up, everybody? Today's video is why Serie A could be number one again. My name is Greg, an American living abroad in Spain, learning the beautiful game of football, one question at a time with your help. And today's video is brought to you by Blue Card. I'm going to include a link in the description so you can go and show them some love. I'm sure they would definitely appreciate that. So isn't this an interesting title? Why Serie A could be number one again. So that means that they were number one at some point and now they aren't. So I don't know a lot about the Italian league. So, I definitely need to learn more because a lot of great players come from there. So we're going to see when they were number one. And you can tell us in the comments if you think that they were ever number one. You may not think so. That's perfectly fine. Just go ahead and drop that in the comments. So before we get going here, go ahead and like the video. That would be awesome. All right, let's go.
Ball on the rise again. It's a question I've been asking myself for quite a while, and now after some strong arguments, I think I can prove that yes, Italian football is on the rise. But the important word here is again.
Yeah, that's
Many
right.
fans born in the 2000s or later don't even know.
God dang it, I've been seeing that jersey around town lately. The black and red one. Oh my God. Ronaldinho is what I always see on the back of the jersey. So, okay, that's interesting. That's
So that Serie A used to be as successful as La Liga and the Premier League are today. However, Serie A could comfortably take the leadership baton if they continue as they are. Now, let's take a step back to the iconic 1990s. In fact, the monumental golden era of Italian football began in the late 1980s. The Serie A was so dominant that in the 12-year period between 1987 and 1998, 9 Serie A players won the Ballon d'Or. AC Milan players like Ruud Gullit and Marco van Basten won it 3 times in a row. And then Lothar Matthäus of Inter Milan won it in 1990. After a 1-year break in 1991, when Jean-Pierre Papin won it for Marseille, the Ballon d'Or returned to Italy with Marco van Basten in 1992.
But isn't this a year when all of the leagues in the UK were going through their difficulties and being banned and everything? So, I mean, I'm not saying that's the reason that they were number one, but I'm just saying
Roberto Baggio for Juventus in 1993 and George Weah for Milan in 1995. The last push came in 1997 and 1998 when Ronaldo and Zinedine Zidane won the award respectively. And now, another interesting fact to completely blow your mind with the greatness of Serie A back then. 2 of the 3 winners of the award who broke Serie A's streak, playing for clubs outside of Italy, Jean-Pierre Papin and Hristo Stoichkov, played for Marseille in 1991 and Barcelona in 1994, moved directly to the Serie A within a year or after winning the Ballon d'Or. This is how big Serie A was back then. Everyone dreamt of playing there.
And he says Serie A. I said Serie A. So Serie A. Is that how you say it?
Every top player saw teams like Milan, Juve or Inter as the pinnacle of their career. Breaking it down by decades, the 1990s was undoubtedly AC Milan's decade. They enjoyed 3 Champions League triumphs during their golden era in 1989, 1990 and 1994. However, they also suffered a heartbreaking defeat in the final against Marseille in 1993, famously known as Van Basten's last game as a professional. Apart from these 3 European triumphs, Milan won 5 Serie A titles during the most successful decade in history. Next came the 2000s. With the dawn of the new century came a new force, Inter Milan. After their legendary 1960s, when they won 2 European Cups, Inter were dead for the next 4 decades. However, when the 2000s began, Inter experienced a resurgence, particularly in terms of domestic prominence. While their big rival won the Scudetto only once during the 2000s, Inter did it 5 times as much. Yes, 5 Serie A titles, all consecutive, is something not talked about as much. Between 2000 and
right, and it looks like that's
titles,
also
all consecutive, is something not talked about as much.
decade.
Between 2005 and 2010, Inter were the kings of Italy and Europe, winning the European treble in 2010 under Jose Mourinho. This is something that AC Milan has never done in their history, despite winning the Champions League 7 times, including twice in the 2000s, in 2003 and 2007. Then in the 2010s, after the other two Italian giants had enjoyed a decade of supremacy, it was Juventus' turn to shine on the domestic and European stage. Until then, Inter's 5 consecutive Scudetti were extraordinary, but Juve managed to almost double this feat.
Scudetti.
His turn to shine on the domestic and European stage. Until then, Inter's 5 consecutive Scudetti were extraordinary, but Juve...
Scudetti? Did I miss something, or is that like the name of the trophy, or the so like the treble? Scudetti is a name of something? Just wondering.
Managed to almost double this feat. Juventus won the Serie A title 9 times in a row between 2012 and 2020.
I don't know. I mean, let's look it up and see what the Scudetti is. Curious. So listen, look at this. So the Scudetti, well, Scudetto, I guess, is one, and Scudetti is plural. Okay, that makes sense. It's a decoration having the colors of the flag of Italy, which is sewn onto the jersey of the Italian sports club that won the highest level championship of their respective sport in the previous season. So I guess it's just the championship. It's a representation of the championship. So essentially it's like the title, I guess. So whoever won the title won a Scudetto. If they have multiple Scudettos, then they've won Scudettis. I guess that's how it goes. So that makes sense. Okay, great. Now we know. Let's continue.
Juve managed to almost double this feat. Juventus won the Serie A title 9 times in a row between 2012 and 2020. Not only that, but they also reached the Champions League final twice, losing to Barcelona and Real Madrid in 2015 and 2017 respectively. For the next 3 years, however, not a single Italian side managed to reach the final of any European club competition. This led to a turning point when Inter qualified for the 2020 Europa League final. They lost to Sevilla in a heartbreaking manner, but they were performing exceptionally well under Antonio Conte at the time. But that was only the beginning of a new era, not only for Inter, but for the Italian football as a whole. With that in mind, we've reached the most important part of the video, to compare Italian Serie A with other major European leagues. We'll divide the analysis into 3 basic criteria. 1. European performance. 2. A competitive domestic title race, which naturally attracts more attention to the league. And 3. Commercial and financial growth.
Well, that is the one thing I do know about Serie A, is that I've heard they're the most competitive league. So in other words, the most teams have an opportunity to win at the beginning of the season and throughout the season. I think that's what I heard.
Now, starting with European performance, we've already mentioned the 2020 Europa League final, which was a great success for Inter in the pre-Beppe Marotta era. Over the next 5 years, Inter played 2 more European finals, this time in the Champions League against Manchester City in 2023 and Paris Saint-Germain 2025. Yes, many mocked them for losing both finals, but just think, both of their opponents won the treble, which clearly indicates they were the best team in the world on those occasions. And it's not just Inter. Take Roma for example, 2021 Europa League semi-final, 2022 Conference League triumph, 2023 Europa League final, 2024 Europa League semi-final again. Realistically, they narrowly lost the 2023 Europa League final to Sevilla on penalties, the kings of the competition, so we can't blame them. Next, Atalanta. In 2024, in the most surprising way possible, Atalanta completely demolished the flying Bayer Leverkusen 3-0 after a hat-trick by Ademola Lookman, clinching their first major European trophy. This incredible journey, which also saw them beat Liverpool and Marseille, demonstrated the league's capacity to nurture competitive underdogs beyond the traditional powerhouses. Meanwhile, AC Milan returned to the Champions League semi-finals in 2023 after a 16-year wait, while Fiorentina made back-to-back Conference League finals, most recently reaching the semi-finals in 2025. Collectively, these results have catapulted Serie A to second place in UEFA's 5-year coefficient rankings, surpassing La Liga and just behind the Premier League. In summary, Italian clubs aren't just back, they're regularly competing, winning and influencing the balance of power in Europe. And criteria number 2 can further demonstrate this. Another clear indicator that Italian football is truly on the rise is the sheer intensity of the Serie A title races. And this season has provided a textbook example. The Scudetto was decided on the final match day between Napoli and Inter, who went into the last round of matches separated by just 1 point. From the moment they drew 0-0 at Parma to Inter's late collapse at home to Lazio, the league title remained up for grabs until the final whistle. Napoli edged it with a 2-0 win over Calgary, landing their second title win in 3 seasons, and the championship was genuinely unknown until May 23. And another minor but strong argument, the very possibility of a potential playoff if Inter and Napoli finished level on points, only added to the tension. In this regard, the contrast with La Liga and the Premier League is striking. There, the champions are often crowned weeks or even months early. For example, Liverpool secured the 2024-25 Premier League title on 27 April.
That's true. I remember that.
5 games before the end of the season. Barcelona practically won the title after their 4-3 El Clasico win on matchday 35. Before that, Madrid finished 10 points ahead of Barca in 2024. And in 2023, Barca were 10 points ahead of Madrid. I genuinely can't remember a competitive La Liga season when 2 or 3 teams were fighting for the title in the final days of the season. On top of that, Serie A has produced 4 different champions over the past 6 seasons, while La Liga has produced 3 and the Premier League 2.
Oh, what the heck?
Champions over the past 6 seasons, while La Liga has produced 3 and the Premier League 2. And
the Premier League 2?
Over the past 6 seasons, while La Liga has produced 3 and the Premier
Oh my God.
League 2. And last but not least, the commercial and financial growth. As the figures for the 2024-25 season are not yet available, let's use last year's numbers. According to sources, Serie A clubs collectively generated approximately 2.9 billion euros in revenue in the 2023-24 season, a 2% increase from the previous year. This growth was driven by a 9% increase in commercial revenue, 1 billion euros, fueled by new sponsorships and merchandise sales, which were particularly strong among clubs with North American ownership. Sponsorship agreements now total around 600 million euros, with nearly 700 active deals across the league. Broadcast rights remain central, however. Serie A earns around 900 million euros annually from domestic deals with DAZN and Sky. But reforms are underway. A new government proposal could allow a single buyer for all rights, with the aim of pushing domestic income beyond 1.1 billion euros and potentially tripling foreign rights by 2030. In summary, Italian football's revival isn't just about shareable headlines or nostalgia. It's about solid, measurable change across Europe, the domestic league, and the financial books. Yes, challenges remain. Serie A is not as popular as it was 30 years ago. Right now, the Premier League, together with Barcelona, Real Madrid, and probably Bayern Munich, remains the most desirable destination. But overall, yes, Italian football is on the rise again. Now, of course, as always, don't forget to share your thoughts, like and subscribe.
I mean, I suppose it is on the rise when you look at it where it used to be. But man, I just feel like they have a long way to go to compete with the Premier League, at least money-wise, and that's usually what talks. And I also heard that the stadiums are all messed up. Is that right? They have old stadiums. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's kind of what I remember. So this is super interesting. I definitely am excited. I took a look at this now so I can follow along with them throughout the season and see how they do. I mean, maybe they can be competitive again. Who knows? All right, like the video. That would be awesome. Thanks for stopping by, and we will see you on the next video. Peace.